Hello, Sovereigns, and welcome. This will be our third Dojo AMA. This time, our main topic will revolve around developments. And for this, we have a very special guest, Sovereign's very own Ororo.
Hi.
Uh, so I received a bunch of questions from the community, and I decided that this time the AMA is going to be a bit different. As you can see, you're all muted. It will remain so until after we finished answering the questions that have been sent to me prior to today. I'm sorry again for the technical difficulties. I don't know what happened. Um, so let's not waste any more time and get straight into it, if that's cool with you.
Sure.
Awesome. So I think that it's really great that the community has the chance to get to know some of the key sovereigns. And I think that these initial questions are perfect to start off the AMA. So, what's your origin story for discovering Bitcoin to founding Sovereign, and why did you choose your nickname as Ororo?
Okay, that's actually not one question, but three questions. I'm going to answer them one by one. So, because I want to remain my pseudonymity, I have to be careful with what I'm telling you. But I think I can tell you my origin story in brief. So, I came to Bitcoin for rather pragmatic reasons, and the ideals came only later. So while I was studying, I, as many students, was in constant need of money. At that point, I was working as a waitress and basically living off tips. And well, I could do better. I had a friend who had a income in Bitcoin, and he offered to sell them to me for a discounted price, so I could buy them cheaper than on the market. And I did it, and the price went up, and I realized that through trading and arbitraging, I could just make a much better living than through waitressing. So I could give up that job. And that way I started my arbitraging career, so to say. So this
Okay.
was how I got to Bitcoin. And only last year in May, when speaking with a bunch of Bitcoiners about how it sucks that there is no Bitcoin native DeFi, that we have to send our Bitcoin to centralized exchanges or wrap them up on Ethereum to be able to do anything with them other than holding. Um, and when no one ever built it, so we were just complaining a lot. And then the idea came up, well, if no one ever built it, maybe we should just do it. And I wasn't sure if this was a crazy idea or if it was a brilliant idea. Usually with the good ideas, it's like that, but you cannot really tell. So yeah, that's how it started basically. And because we said that when we are bringing like all of these financial services to Bitcoin, margin trading, lending, borrowing, everything which you're currently seeing with Sovereign, that's like bringing superpowers to Bitcoin. So we are decided to call ourselves the Bitcoin mutants because we are enhancing Bitcoin with these superpowers, and therefore it was kind of logical to choose characters from very famous mutants like the X-Men, and Aurora is just the coolest of all of them, if you ask me. And she has got a very cypherpunk appearance, which I like, and I've always loved storms, so that's how I ended up with that name.
Great. I hope that somebody offers me Bitcoin at a discount. And I love the fact that just do it is the motto. uh, since you've been one of the initial catalysts for Sovereign, I'm curious if today's Sovereign is what you have envisioned.
um, well, so when we started this, I was a bit naive. So I thought that we would just need to see what's working on ETH, pick like the cherries, the best cherries out of what's there, adapt it to our needs, and deploy it in Rootstock. And then we have something which is DeFi for Bitcoin because it's on a sidechain, merge mind sidechain. So this was the base idea, and while it's true in its essence, it's also not enough. So very soon we learned that it's not that easy because we were struggling with how to actually get Bitcoin onto Rootstock. And the two-way peg was a very, very scary experience. So even I was scared when I was using the two-way peg for the first time. And I just thought we cannot do that to our users. No one will ever get their Bitcoin on the side if they have to use that two-way peg. And the alternatives were either centralized exchanges where you would need to do KYC or just very expensive. So there was clearly a need for us to build a faster way, but still a secure way for anyone who would like to use Sovryn to get onto Rootstock. And that's how we ended up building out Fast BTC. And then next we were lacking the stablecoins because there is a dollar on chain, which is a great Bitcoin-backed stablecoin, but it's very limited in supply. It was never ever enough for us to fulfill the stablecoin need we have. So we needed to build bridges to ETH, to Binance Chain. Then there are no node infrastructure providers already for Rootstock. So we needed to start building out our own infrastructure, make it fail safe and make it scalable. And all of these additional infrastructure we needed to build was just a lot of effort and a lot of work, which we had not accounted for in the beginning. So you could say that in some way, we managed to build in this short time frame. We managed to build much more than I would have ever expected, but we are still just at the beginning.
Yeah, I think we can all appreciate the hustle that you guys bring to the game, and building everything from scratch must be really, really hard. So thank you for all of that. Next question. On the 29th of August 2020, we were able to read a Sovereign Bitcoin's manifesto written by you. Could you rewrite a new manifesto for all of us? I know that development is important, but dreams do come first.
Um, yeah, so what would you like to read in that new manifesto? First question. In general, I agree that dreams are very, very important because dreams are what is driving us forward. I think that at the moment, Jago is doing a great job with pushing out different visions and explaining everything to the community. And I think I wouldn't mind having the time to write again and to become active in that way. But at this moment, I do not have the time because we are still in a bull market, and I have to put all of my energy into just driving the Sovryn forward as much and fast as we can, as long as the bull market is still running. So potentially in the bear market, when we were able to stabilize the team, because currently we're still hiring as crazy. And this is also a lot of work because you need to onboard a lot of new team members. You need to find out who should take which role and how to work together. And I think that in a few months' time, this might have stabilized and we might have formed very independent development teams, which do not require that much of my involvement anymore. And then maybe I might have time for some writing again. Until then, I would appreciate if you're asking for a new manifesto, if you could just tell us what you would hope to read in such a manifesto, and maybe you would just like to write one for all of us yourself. I would be interested in reading
When
your
Lambo.
manifesto. Lambo. That's a short manifesto.
Well, let's just say we don't want to swamp you with more work, and maybe someday in the future when
Yeah.
you are not as busy as you are right now. You've earlier made the interesting remark that, in a way, Ethereum functions like a testnet for building on Bitcoin. We can bring over tried and tested DeFi contracts to RSK/Sovryn when they're stable. Given the picture, what is your view about the potential plan to build on Polygon BSC?
Mm-hmm.
So if I wanted to do perp swaps on some layer one or other, I can already do that. What's the point in building alpha products at other chains while these already exist? Should we not just wait until RSK is ready for such products to be ported over in accordance with your views of the ecosystem?
Well, of course, in the ideal situation, RSK would be ready soon, soon enough for us, and we could just deploy everything on RSK and would not need to bother with launching on different chains or even bother with having to migrate to rollups and this sort of stuff. But I'm currently not seeing it. So while I know that the RSK team is doing their best to improve the chain, they cannot improve it at the rate as we require it. And just to explain to you the importance of the perp swaps for Sovryn. So our main focus is to bring all of these superpowers to Bitcoin, and that you should be able to do anything with Bitcoin, that you should be able also to speculate on anything with Bitcoin. So what perp swaps allow us to do is to go long or short for anything with Bitcoin as collateral. So even if the first product which we launch will be the Bitcoin USD pair, there is the potential to add a pair for just anything. So we could add perp swaps for Tesla shares, for example, or we could add perp swaps for flower seeds. Doesn't really matter. We could choose anything, and all of it could just be backed by Bitcoin. So this is a very, very big thing if you are a Bitcoin holder and you do not want to give up your Bitcoin, but you still want to extend your exposure to different assets. So this is a very, very important product for us as I see it. And now is a very crucial time because we are in this bull market. We are getting this attention. Currently, centralized exchanges have to lock out customers, like South Koreans, for example. So there will be a lot of stranded users as well, which could now be educated and brought to just work with better decentralized solutions instead of having to find any exchange which is still willing to serve them. So I think that at this point, we're just at the exactly correct point in time to do it. And at this point, we do not have RSK in a state at which we could launch this product on RSK. So our options are very limited. We also do not have the rollup ready because we're still waiting for the CK rollup. So at this point, our only options are to launch it on another chain, and this could be either Polygon or Binance Smart Chain, for example.
Okay, great. We'll be waiting for users to come to Sovryn with open arms when they get tired of sexes.
Yeah,
What's
and I
this?
mean, of course, the vision here is to bring it all back under the one system in the end. So at some point when we have the rollup ready and we are migrating our complete system to the rollup, this is then also the time to just take the perp sub product from the different chain and just also migrate it to the rollup. So then we have again a system on a single chain, a single ecosystem, and again the stronger Bitcoin connection.
Of course. Yesterday, I just saw on Discord we had a Lightning Network tab open up. So, what is the status of integrating with the Lightning Network? What will the integration look like, and how will it improve the user experience?
Okay, so we are not working on Lightning integration on the core team, but there is a community project which want to implement or they already started the implementation of a Lightning integration with submarine swaps. I am not personally accompanying this project, but it's other team members, so I do not have the best overview of where it currently stands. But in general, like having a Lightning on-ramp would be awesome. but it's still a way to go, I would say.
Yeah, of course. Maybe just we'll maybe get some more answers and in the Discord in the tab that was created. So we'll just try to redirect members to that, and I think it's gonna be cool. If it's possible to describe a margin trading page, um, what do you think it's going to look like? Like, let's say next year, what can we expect?
Um, okay, so in general, when it comes to what will our page look like, I think we should have an AMA with Sue, because Sue is doing our UX design, and he has a new design for the margin trading page, so he would be the best person to answer the question, but I can already give you some small insight. Um, so yeah, it will be a lot improved from what it's now. And it will also include what many people are waiting for. So we will have a limit order um, option. At this point, our conditional order implementation is able to support limit orders for swaps, so for spot trading, and limit orders for entering margin trade positions. And this is currently only on testnet, and we still require the smart contract review, but it's supposed to go out soon. And the next step is then to add the other conditional orders, so to have stop loss and take profit orders.
Great. I think everybody is itching to have that implemented. And I think you just made or announced our next AMA guest. So Sue has to get ready a bit.
Yeah.
uh, when can we expect to see passive income generatable tools in Sovereign? Not staking, but like stable liquidity pools, hedging to get funding rates, etc. Is that in the works, or could that be possible?
Mhm. So hedging to get funding rates, for example, is something which you can do with the PropSwap product, which is currently under review, and they're currently setting up the testnet. So the smart contracts already have been deployed to testnet for a while now, but we're still working on the front-end integration and on the meta transaction setup, because while we are launching on a different chain, we do not want that anyone has to hold any other currency than Bitcoin. So we're going to have it with meta transactions. I forgot to say that before. So if you're holding a Bitcoin coin which came over our bridge, then you will just be able to use that one to pay your gas fees.
Mhm.
Um, so we'll have these funding rates, and um, when it comes to stable coin pools, there is Babelfish, and I know that the aggregator, the XUSD aggregator, which we're currently using from Babelfish, is still in a rather basic shape. So there's no possibility to create a passive income there. But this might also change as the pool is also integrating direct swaps between stablecoins on the pool itself, and trading fees for swaps between stablecoins on a curve, which is just making sure that the stablecoins remain in a certain ratio. This should also help with the problem we had that our Binance Chain stablecoins are running out, because then there would be arbitraging opportunities created, which should then incentivize users who are arbitraging to just provide Binance Chain stablecoins and purchase the Ethereum stablecoins. Um, so I would say this is a question which should be discussed above all with the Babelfish team, because they are going to offer the main stablecoin trading. So we are planning to integrate it on directly on the spot page and on the spot trading page. So for users, it shouldn't be a difference if they are trading against the Sovryn AMM or with the Babelfish aggregator. But when it comes to the specifics of how to implement it to help generating passive income, I think this is a question which you should just pick up with the Babelfish team. I'm sure they're happy about any input they can get from the community.
Yeah, and I think they have an AMA next week, so maybe if you have these questions, you should go ahead and ask them. They'll be happy about them. Is there any progress with the referral codes or referral system in Sovereign?
So the referral smart contract implementation is already in mainnet. It's just not activated. It is not activated because the adoption team was not too happy with it. So I'm not sure where we're currently standing. So um, we do not have any changes to the existing system planned in our roadmap. So I would really need to check with Malva and the other guys from the adoption team to see if they already made up their mind about the referral system.
Yeah, and I think you just announced the second guy that's gonna be on the AMA. Uh, so any updates on the mobile app? Could we expect it sometime, let's say, second quarter of next year or next year in general?
Ooh, I cannot tell you when we can expect the mobile app. I know that work on the mobile app started a long time ago. Sue is able to tell you more about that. So if you're having an AMM with Sue, add the question there. Um, but at this point, we're still far from actually having a mobile app. But I agree that it would be awesome to have one. So make sure to ask Sue about it.
Yeah, I'll add that question definitely. Uh, when will there be SOV rewards for lending other tokens, not just XUSD? Is that something that Sovereign is looking into, or we're just gonna stay with XUSD?
It depends on what we need to incentivize, I would say. So theoretically, we could have liquidity mining rewards for all of the different lending pools. But and I mean, with we as a community, we have to agree on what we want to spend the treasury SOV on, how much liquidity mining rewards we want to pay for which pools, and which pools are as critical enough for us to provide these liquidity mining rewards. So in case of AMM pools, liquidity mining rewards are much more important than for lending pools, because for AMM pools, you as a liquidity provider are taking a risk because you are exposed to impermanent loss. Whereas if you are supplying coins to the lending pools, then you're having like a guaranteed passive income because you're just getting the interest payments and there is no impermanent loss. So this is why I think that giving liquidity mining rewards for the AMM pools is just much more important, but I would not be opposed to having some smaller rewards for lending pools as well. If you would like to see that, I would suggest to start a thread in the forum and start a discussion and see if it could be just included in a SIP or so.
Yeah, these ideas are better written in the forum and better seen, even it gets lost in Telegram and Discord really fast.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you have any ideas, head over to the forum and write it. uh, so, let's say in the following scenario, when you want to do, for example, DOC slash RBTC swaps, and you don't have enough RBTC for the fees, is there a possibility that the protocol makes the swap transaction discounting the RBTC needed directly from the doc balance? Could that even be possible? Because I know that a lot of people uh, spend all their RBTC and then can't do anything on the app on the DApp, and
Mm-hmm.
there have been a lot of questions about this. Could this possibly be a thing in the future?
Yes, it is technically very possible. It's very similar to what we're currently doing for the perp swaps. I mentioned earlier that we're building out meta transactions. So, um, for the perp swaps on the other chain, you will be able to pay the fees in Bitcoin, although Bitcoin is not the native currency of these chains. And this is because we're going to use meta transactions. So you will just sign the action you would like to do, and then the relayer will execute the transaction. And for executing the transaction, he will receive a fee, then paid in a different token. So in case of the pair swaps, it's in a Bitcoin token. We could have a similar system also for the main dApp, which would allow us to have like these 3-layer services which are accepting stablecoins, for example, or any other currency traded on the system, and would execute then the transactions. It's currently not on the roadmap. The reason why we were discussing it a lot in the past, and the reason why it was never added to the roadmap was that originally we expected the rollups to be progressing much faster. So like last year at this time, we would have thought that it would long be on a rollup now, but the development there was much slower than expected. So we are still on main chain. But with the roll up, the idea was to have the option to pay your fees in different tokens to be supported natively. So we would not need to build out the meta transaction stuff around it, because it's a whole new set of infrastructure which we need to maintain. However, if you're now building it out for Binance Smart Chain or Polygon already, then it would be less effort to also do it for the main chain, because we already have one of the setups running. So the second one wouldn't be as much work. But still, I do not want to promise it here.
Yeah, of course, of course. One last question from me, and then maybe someone from the community has something. We know the hype about play to earn games is really huge this bull run. Could they be released on Sovryn in the future? Is that a possibility?
Interesting. I mean, why not? Theoretically, would be fun to see it, and would be fun to see if you could potentially even connect these games with the financial products. Well, I think it would be fun. Why not? I do not think that we will build it out ourselves, so it would need to be community projects.
Yeah, maybe.
So in general, if anyone in the community has awesome ideas and the skills to do something and you just need support, then please feel free to open a thread in the forum, because we do have grants for community projects which benefit the complete ecosystem.
Great, guys. So you heard it here. Go to the forum and write. That's it. So does the community have any questions? The floor is yours now.
Hello.
Hey, go ahead.
Hello.
Just state your name before you ask the questions, so we know who we're talking to.
Hey, this is Bitcoin King. I was just asking about the NFTs. I saw a tab there, and I just wanted to know when that would be activated.
NFTs. So, well, most of you know Exalt Surfer. He is no longer part of the core team now, but changed to the NFT team. So he's now focusing on bringing like the NFT marketplace and everything regarding NFTs to Sovryn and to the ecosystem. I do not know where the efforts are currently standing. It would be best to get that answer from him.
I think we just need to wait for the announcement. I know that Exiled is working hard on all of these things, so eventually it will be here. They will be here. That's it.
So I can give an answer to that.
Oh, hi, Exiled.
Hi.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's a little bit of inside information. As you know, we've been talking about doing this for a long time. And at the end of last month, handed over to Malva, the adoption team, and am working together with Shevin, John, on the Origins platform. And one of the first token launches that is planned will be for the NFT platform to fund a team. The name of the project is called Dropper, D-R-O-P-P-R. The tokenomics are done and designed. Team is being built. There's currently 8 members of the team. There's a Discord channel already, and we're putting together a one-page website to describe all of the features of the platform. And by the end of this month, I will be putting a SIP into the forum with all of the tokenomics, the website, and all of the partners on the project is the current status. So by the end of the month, you guys will have all of the details.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
Exat.
Thanks.
Did that answer your question, Bitcoin King?
Yeah, actually, it did. I also have my wife here. She is an artist, and actually, she was just making a cool design for Sovryn, and she just wanted to know if you guys need anybody on her team, because right now we're living in Costa Rica, and she's just been dabbling with her Wacom device that she really loves, and she just wanted to know if you guys need any animators or artists at all. I can give you her email if you like.
Maybe just write me after the AMA and we'll have a talk, okay?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hello, this is Nimesh. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You're a bit.
Bit
Can you
low?
speak a
No.
better? Yeah.
I want to ask about node operators. Like anybody is running nodes, and what is it financially viable to run right now? So yeah, that's my question about node operators. How much money we should put in minimum at starting?
Now you need to be a bit more precise which nodes exactly you're referring to. Are you
That
referring to RSK nodes? Are you referring to sovereign nodes, which are the virtual
sovereign
capital
nodes,
systems?
sovereign nodes which does liquidations.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That requires very little investment from the technical perspective. It does require some, however, for the liquidation that require liquidity. So the technical setup of a sovereign node is rather simple if you have some technological background. If you have none at all, it might be a bit difficult. We still need to work on making this more easy. There is a repository on our organization which contains a README document which explains how to set one up. So this should be rather straightforward. And if you have questions regarding this, then feel free to ask them on the Discord.
No, my question was, is it viable financially?
But
That's what. That was my question.
yes, so I'm getting to it. It is a very profitable business because what you're doing with liquidations is you are purchasing the collateral for a discounted price. So similar to how I did it with Bitcoin at the very, very beginning of my crypto career. So you're buying collateral for a discounted price, and then you can sell it, of course, for a higher price. So this is where the profit is generated. So it is a
Like
very profitable business. However, this is now comes what you need to consider. At this point, you need to actively purchase the collateral. This means you need to have some liquidity, and you do not have to have much liquidity. You can also start with some, because you do not have to liquidate complete positions. You can liquidate positions also only partially. So let's say from a position, 1 Bitcoin of collateral are up for sale because the position is unhealthy, then you could buy 0.1 of that 1 Bitcoin. So there's no need for you to liquidate a complete position, but you need to have some liquidity on the contract to be able to participate as a liquidator.
my question was like the gas fee and the amount we put. Overall, it would be profitable, like because RSK gas fee might go up sometimes.
The RSK gas fee is rather stable, so we're not having crazy fluctuations as we do with Ethereum, but it's at 0.65 gigawatt approximately, and it usually stays at that amount. There are only spikes if something like origins is happening, because then there is just a lot of transactions in the network and we have some congestion. But apart from that, they're usually very stable and the costs are not too high.
So what would you tell, like how much money, how much liquidity we should put in at starting, and at what point we would see like profits? That is my question. That's all. Because I was looking for anybody who was running node operations so that I could ask them what are the numbers. Because I need some numbers to get it or start it, right? Because we are putting RBTC, not any USD, like not XUSD.
Would make most sense. I have to tell you, it would make more sense for you to put stable coins because most positions in the system are long. So if you are liquidating a long position, you have to buy Bitcoin with stable coins. So you need to have stable coins in the liquidator above all. There are almost no short positions. And the only thing you can liquidate with RBTC are short positions.
So we
A
need
few
to put
thousand. I
all.
cannot tell you an exact number now. You would need to do the math yourself. You can calculate how much it would be because you know that you're making 5%. You get 5% discount to the current market price. You have to calculate that there will be some slippage when you are actually swapping the amount back, but you can calculate how much your profit on a single liquidation is, and you can calculate how much you're paying in gas, and then just see how much you would need for it to be profitable. I cannot answer the question out of the top of my head without doing some calculations myself.
So now we can put like $100 XUSD, $100 RBTC, and $100 SOV and run the bot and just test it out.
Well,
That
if
will
you're
be a bit.
putting $100, that's a bit little because with $100, 5% are $5. Then you lose some when you're swapping it back because you have slippage and the price of the AMM is not exactly the same as on the Oracle. So
So what
let's
would be the
say you end up
minimum?
with $4 profit and then you have to pay for the liquidation gas cost, but you're not guaranteed that the liquidation will be successful because others are trying to liquidate the same
Yeah,
position. So $100 is not enough, I would say. I would say put at least 1,000.
1,000. Okay, that's a lot actually. Yeah, but okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anybody
Thanks for.
else?
Hi, I have a
Right.
question, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly, точно here. I have a question about how does actual when you get a margin call, how does it get liquidated? Because I have been in few margin trades and my liquidation price is met, but I don't get liquidated, and I don't know how much of my assets are left in the trade. Like, can somebody shed a light on that?
Okay, so regarding the margin call service, I would need to check with the shadow team what's the state of that and if it is working stable now. I know that they have been working on the margin call service a lot the past few weeks. In general, there can be a delay because when your position drops below the liquidation price, then also the sovereign nodes, the liquidators realize that your position is unhealthy, and then they might initiate a liquidation, and then there is a delay until the liquidation is actually performed. Also, usually when liquidations happen, there are multiple at once because it's usually during very, very fast price drops. And then there might be a delay until your position is actually liquidated because the liquidators cannot liquidate all of the positions at the same time. So this is why there might be some blocks passing until you actually get liquidated, which is the main reason why our maintenance margin is so high with 15%, because we know that we have to account for this delay. And to go one step further, this is also one of the reasons why we are so eager to get onto a roll-up, because it would mean that we would get rid of this delay and we could lower the maintenance margin, and then we would not have liquidations that early, and we could allow for higher leverage. Just as a side note, so you understand how the things are depending on each other. So
Okay. Sorry, you didn't finish.
almost. So yeah, so this delay is the reason why you're not getting liquidated immediately, and it might be that the price bounces up again until your position would actually be liquidated, and this way you're missed out. So this can happen, but you should see any liquidations on the front end, and if not, reported in the user feedback and directly tag Sue. Because
Okay, let me just tell you about one of my trades and why I don't understand it. My entry price was 31.2. My liquidation price was 28.7, and I'm still not liquidated. And it's 23 now, and it's been like 7 days.
this is strange. Is it very small, your position? And
Sorry?
could it be that the position is very small, or that there's only a very small remainder of the position left open and the big part was already liquidated? Because if sometimes there are dust positions remaining behind, and then we cannot liquidate them.
I don't know how to see that. I went with, let's say, $2,000, and the only thing I see, like in the red, how much am I down? I'm not seeing what's left, what's not, and it now even says.
I cannot answer the question without looking further into your position. Could you just open a support ticket and paste your address, or the best thing would to paste the loan ID, but I'm not sure if you can get that from the interface. But it would be best if you could just provide all of the details on a support ticket, and then we can look into it and just see what's the state of that position. But it's very unlikely that it remains open with a big amount and not liquidated, although it's unhealthy.
Just
I will, no problem.
I mean, there is one possibility. If that's the case, then we really need to look into it, because there's one option, and that's because we had a liquidation cascade. I think most of you saw that the price was dropping very, very rapidly at some point, and this was because positions started to be liquidated, and the liquidations dropped the price because the SOV which was purchased, the collateral, was again converted to XUSD or RBTC or whatever was your second currency. So there was a lot of sell pressure through the liquidators, and so the liquidators sold the SOV, and then because of that, the price dropped further. We had further liquidations. So it's a cycle. So we had this cascade, which only stopped at some point, but it went very, 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 very fast. So one option is that the price dropped that fast, and the liquidators were not able to keep up with the speed of which the price was dropping, and until the liquidator would have liquidated your position, it was already below zero maintenance. This is an option, in which case you would not be able to close the position because it's unhealthy, and the liquidators do not want to liquidate it because they would make a loss if they would liquidate it. And this is exactly the case which we want to avoid by having the 15% maintenance margin. So it's good that you're raising it. I would still think it would be great if you could open a support ticket, but I will make sure that someone is looking into if we have unhealthy positions on the system and SOV, which could not be liquidated in time.
Could you just send me a DM after the AMA, and we'll try to work something out, if that's cool with you?
Of course, no problem. I was just
Okay.
interested with what happened. Thank you.
Okay, just send me a DM and we'll try to get it sorted. Okay, Martin, I think you're next, and let's make this the last question because timing is running out. So the floor is yours, Martin.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for doing this. It's some really illuminating answers. So I'm very curious about your views on Sovryn moving or offering the surface of a jurisdiction. We learned about these sort of plans about building embassies and citadels and building citizenship collateral, and I was wondering what your views are on this, what the design would maybe look like, and whether there are predecessors to this on Ethereum, whether we are also here porting over stuff from Ethereum or not, or just wondering about your views on this.
Yeah. So I think it's very, very ambitious, and it's on the verge of being crazy, and that's why it could be brilliant. So I think this has huge potential, and I would love to see that happen. So I'm fully behind that. I do not know about any other project which has done that on Ethereum or any other chain. There are some rather independent autonomous zones, but I do not know any project like ours, which would then also link the governance to a decentralized governance system and that sort. I do not know of any project which ever tried it before. So this is still in a very early visionary state and not yet a very concrete technical thing. So I think it will wait a bit longer for getting any details on what the implementation would look like.
May I say a little bit on that, Ororo?
Of course.
Okay. So during the Parallelly Polis chaos event at the beginning of October, there was a conversation together with the Real Smuggler and Yago and myself on this topic. And if you guys are not familiar with Parallelly Polis, they're a group of old school cypherpunks and cryptographers, crypto anarchists that have a few locations around Europe. One of them is in Vienna, which I'm the founder of, and we've been speaking for a long time about how it is that Parallelly Polis can be expanding out into other physical jurisdictions. And so Yago has been working together with what are called Zetas. So these are economic zones in different South American countries. One of them is Honduras, and the most famous one in Honduras is a place called Prospera. And there are two other Zetas in Honduras, which Yago has been in contact with as well. And so in Honduras, in Paraguay, in Uruguay, and also in El Salvador now, there is legislation that has been getting worked on for a number amount of years, which allow essentially extra jurisdictional land to be sold, where it is then similar to something like Singapore. And so together with Parallelly Polis, what Sovryn is looking to do is to combine physical locations together with the ability to get legislation passed, which allows for DAOs and other types of things to be recognized in these economic zones. And so that's essentially the core of the thinking that's going along and the pieces that are on the table. But as Ororo said, it's more of a vision, a crazy vision of this point of actually trying to establish physical jurisdictions where then the sovereign protocol with its financial primitives and then moving out into property rights and things together would be possible. And so this also sort of like is connected with the work that I'm doing on the NFT project, is together with Materium, who is doing real world asset NFTs, have established warranties and claims that are consistent with international maritime arbitration laws in 160 jurisdictions. So the longer term vision of the NFT platform is not only art, but that eventually we would have property deeds as NFTs. And the vision is to get Materium's legal experts to be working together with the draft legislation for these different economic zones for us to start testing these types of things. So while this is a really incredibly exciting thing for everybody, I think tempering expectations about the immediacy of something like this should be damped down a little bit. It's something that's going to take quite a bit of time, you know, probably years to make these types of things happen. But the stones are in place and the vision is in place to work together with existing legislation and the new type of things that are happening in the internet to try and attempt something like this.
Thank you, Exiled. This brings us to the end of the Development AMA. Thank you, Ororo, for being our guest today. We appreciate everything you're doing for the project and wish you luck and health in the future.
Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure to be here. And yeah, sorry I cannot stay longer, but I have to get on another call in 1 minute.
Thank you for being here. I think we all benefited a lot from your presence. As for the community, I would like to thank all of you guys for listening to us and providing the questions. Special thanks to the Spanish community. You guys rock, and Sec for providing the translations. And again, thank you, Exiled, for jumping in so quick and clearing up some issues. Now I wish you a great day, and remember to always stay sovereign. Thank you, guys, and goodbye.
Yeah, and thank you to you, Luca, for doing these, man. It's really a great feature of the community, and you really do a great job in making this stuff happen, man. So thanks to you too.